Accidental Wolf. You're writer, director, but I'm very curious how you even came up with the concept.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I really early on did a play with the great Kelli O'Hara, and I said to her, if I write you something, will you do it? And we were doing King Lear at the Public at the time, and she kind of was like, yeah. And so I wrote this piece, this like kind of like short, which was what would happen if a phone call from somewhere across the globe calls your house accidentally, and what happens if that phone call is someone begging for their life to be saved, and you hear a death on the phone line. And I thought, what happens if that person had everything in the world? Like literally, they were white, they were privileged, they had money, they had access, power. And what happens if those two things collide? And that's kind of how it started. And then what happened is just the creativity and just kind of listening to the world. Right around the time that we were shooting the pilot, the Ebola outbreak in Sierra Leone broke out. And I started talking to my Sierra Leonean friends and just kind of like hearing their POV on things. And so it's just kind of like, that's kind of what happened, to be honest. Like I was really writing as the world was changing with actors that wanted to hang out and do this.
So it's very clear, like what you're saying about privilege, because there's a part on season 1 when Katie's mom, played by Judith, says something like, you kind of like just stay quiet and you just kind of like, follow the directions and
go. Like basically like, shut up, go to church, spread your legs and move the fuck on and die. That's who we are. And that scene was shot, I think that was shot in 2015.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So I wrote that in 2014, 15, something like that. That you can't quote me at 14, 15, 16, no, it wasn't 16. I think it was 15. So I just was really interested in that because I don't know, in my mind, I thought that's, I'm an Iranian immigrant. Do you know what I mean? Like I know nothing about that world. We grew up in a kind of like immigrant like apartment complex in a rich side of Chicago, and I always as a kid truthfully just imagined that the rich folks kind of like had everything. I felt that they could do anything and have everything and be anything, and I think that's kind of like some of that, what's coming in there that I wanted to write about and explore and basically say, I really believe one of the big central themes that this big question that I'm trying to answer is, how far do you go to help a stranger? Like, how far are we willing to go? How far are you, Nancy? How far am I gonna go to help a complete stranger? So like in New York, if like a homeless man is like down and like we call the things and all of a sudden like we have to, or we as witnesses, like how far do we go in the help, you know what I mean? And that's a question that I think I wanted to really answer. And that's kind of at the center of like how I wanted her to be, I guess. You know what I mean? Like I wanted her to like be answering that question while everyone around her is kind of like, just shut up. Like that. Did you watch season 2 as well?
Part of it, only because I want to keep my mouth shut.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. But all this to say is that we even dive in more into this conversation of, I'll just say like someone asks her, let's say that you get this girl. What are you going to do? Like, what, I don't want to say too much because it's, again, that was a scene that was shot in 2016 and it kind of ends season 2. And it really pinpoints, I think, what we as a society are really grappling with. I'm not trying to be conceited about that. I just feel like it's like right in the middle of that. It's right in the middle of that, like messy, like, why do you think you can solve fucking everything? You know what I mean? Why though? Why do you want to do this? And I'm the type of like writer to really try to not answer the question. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to tell it to you. Like, this is the answer, you know?
Oh,
Anyway, that was
we're definitely getting that from the show.
good.
But yes, you're right. When it comes to humanity, like, we've kind of lost it. And then here's an example of where it can suddenly come. But at the same time, I feel like this character is finding a purpose.
Yeah.
Finding something, because like it says in the synopsis, it's a bored housewife from New York.
Yeah.
But she didn't have a purpose. She didn't have a passion. And now she has something that, you know, she got a gut feeling about. Yeah.
And I love that. I love that about her. You know, I love that she's also like a mom that's like figuring it out. You know what I mean? It's just, I say this to Kelli all the time. I mean, I love her, and I get frustrated by her, but I love her. So, you know what I mean? Like that, like with any friend, you know, like with anyone like that you really kind of try to want to explore. Yeah, she really feels like she doesn't have anything going on, and not the support of anybody. Like nobody really, you know, with a mom like that, and, you know, negotiating, taking kids and 50-50, it's like, gulp, like that kill me, you know? So.
Yes. So she's in a way becoming a little wolf in her circle, kind of coming out and fighting for what she believes.
Yeah, I think they're, you know, I think the question that you're trying to get at, it's like, who is the accidental wolf really? You know, and I think, you know, I just completed 3, so I have it's a much more complicated answer, because and with 3 we conclude the show. And I genuinely can tell you that there is going to be I think a real, I don't know if we're ever going to get the answer of who is the accidental wolf. I think in a way, I hope it's trying to ask a bigger question, like, can we be the accidental wolves in a way? You know, but yeah, it's it's hard to answer that question at this point.
Okay, maybe for season 3 when we talk again.
Yeah. I would love that. I would love to hear what you think. I'd love to hear what you think.
Great. So for the second season, I feel like we get to learn more in depth of other characters. For example, the mom, like you mentioned, what do you do with a mom like that? But also I see she's opening up to curiosity, to realizing she missed out on a lot with that state of mind. I mean, you have her asking Kelli about the character played by Raul, you know?
Yeah. And really, she even says, she's like, we had one kid, you know, and I've had sex with one man. And I really feel that's like my mom, even though she's an Iranian woman, you know? So much of that to me, when you mention that, I really think about my mom. My mom was married to my dad at a very, 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 very young age, and had 3 kids before the age of 18. And so in a way, I think about my mom all the time. And I kind of wrote that in for the character of Nancy, even though that character I think she is racist. I mean, you know, in my opinion. So like, I wanted to make sure that we also saw that of her. And now you also have Judith Ivey. I mean, you know, you get it. Like, you're going to have to give them like meat, you know, to like chew on. And the way she's like, what was he like? And the curiosity on her face that the editor and I just like stayed on her. Just like, stay with her. Like, just see what's going on there. Like, please tell me. And then Kelli and I, that response, you know, that one word, better.
Yeah, but then she got up. So I was like, I want to know more.
Yeah, she got up because the baby started crying.
Yes. It kind of ruined that moment, but it's okay because we'll get to hear more. We'll get to hear more.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it's the juxtaposition of her saying better, but also meaning like she wants that world, but also having the mere fact that she's got a child upstairs. You know, I just wanted to explore that mother, you know, like that you know, that thing, you know.
So you already mentioned how you brought in Kelli, but how did you bring in Judith? I mean, this is an actress that has been around for a very long time. I mean, she's done impressive work, and then here you have her.
Yeah, I mean, that was Kelli. Kelli and I wanted to write, I wrote season 1, again, like I think in 2015. And I gave it to her, and then we kind of like talked, like, because we also have to like each other. I mean, this is a big thing. And so we talked about a bunch of names, and Judith Ivey came up. And then my wife, weirdly, she went to Illinois State University, and my wife was taught by her in a seminar class once and said she is the greatest of the greats. And I was like, of course. And then Moy, I just saw her do The Heiress on Broadway, and she got nominated for a Tony for that. She was unbelievable. And then I was like, oh, she's just the right energy. And she can do anything. That's all these actors can like do anything. They can like do anything, you can just give them anything and they'll just do it. And so that's kind of like the joy of this.
And how did you get the Mexican in there? How did you find him? For Raul
Which
Castillo.
one?
Raul Castillo.
Oh, Raul. I wanted, in that season 1, Raul and I were hanging out a bunch, and we just became good friends, really. And I just love it. Do you know him at all?
I liked his character in Visa, Baco. That's where I first saw him. And then I've seen him in some other stuff. So I'm like, he's doing quite a bit right now.
He's amazing. He's a great guy. He's a great, great guy. And I just see him around in like the theater scene. Like at we would go see a show together. We just hang, and every time I hung out with him, I just really had a good vibe from him. And then for that part, I really wanted someone that wasn't blonde and blue-eyed. I wanted someone that was completely opposite of her. And Raul and I just hung out one night, and I was just looking, I was like, and he's like stunning to look at. I mean, he is just like so pretty. And I thought he was the right age, and I just asked him, and he said yes, and then he did it. I mean, that's basically what happened. Like, and I wrote that part towards him.
For him.
Yeah.
That's great. So tell me about one of the scenes that you looked forward to filming for the second season, if you can talk a little bit about it.
Yeah. In the second season, one of the scenes that I just absolutely like adored, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I loved working again with Judith. The scenes with Judith and Kelli are just so delicious. I think one of my favorite scenes, to be real with you, is the scene that happens with Bobby. Do you remember Bobby? Bobby's the character, is the security guard that throws her out. Has to come in, in, and he's like, Miss Bonner, can we just step outside? Like awkwardly has to like politely arrest her in a weird fucked up way. And because of that one performance that he gave on screen in that little piece, I wanted to know more about that character. So I wrote a whole scene for him and Kelli that just comes out of nowhere in a very cram-packed, I think it's in episode 203 or 4. Oh no, it's episode 203. And end of 203. And that's my favorite scene. It's like I took this old like theater thing of like Laurent, which is like it's a certain, like you have a main character that stays at one point, and then all of these other characters come at her at one location. You just, and that's kind of like that was my favorite thing to shoot in season 2. It was just a lot of choreography and a lot of great actors. And Ashley Park, Reed Birney, Brandon Durden, Valerie Laurie. It was just like a lot of moving parts, many extras. So it was just fun. It was scary, but fun.
Now you mentioned a lot of like a little bit about theater. So I've noticed that, well, I would say in your experience, I mean, doing theater, you're an actor, writer, director. I mean, you jumped into a big project to start directing and writing.
Yeah. It wasn't my first writing thing. I've been writing, for a long time. But in the theater world, I've been writing in the theater for 20 years. You know what I mean? So I understand structure very, very well in that way. And if you look at it, every scene and every show and the entire thing is like a beginning, middle, and end. I think of all of them as little mini one acts that I'm just like
putting together, like all of them are little mini one acts. It has a beginning, middle, and end, beginning, middle, and end, and chapter break, beginning, middle, and chapter break. And so in a way, that structure is very, very easy for me because I know it super duper well. And even though it seems like a huge project, I've produced bigger projects. I've produced, you know, a 60-person musical on the Intrepid, with half of the cast being veterans and half of them being Broadway stars of a forgotten World War II musical. Like, this one was easier because it was in chunks. It was like 2 days. So on the producing level of things, you know, that didn't scare me. It was really the writer part of it that scared me the most, because I am over the years re-sculpting this show to like fit with another thing, you know. So like there's scenes in season 3 that I shot in 2016.
Oh,
You see what I'm saying? Like I am like putting, when Topic came in and took over the show and they like gave us this deal, essentially I had 4 hours of material, 4.5 hours of material. And I took a step back and I said, what's missing? Where can I fill in the gaps? What do I, if I had another chance at? And I did that in season 1. I did maybe like 3 days of shooting. It's not even, it's maybe like no more than like a minute and a half of content, maybe more, maybe 2 minutes of content. In season 2, about 25%, maybe 20%, you know? And because I had that opportunity, which no writer does, to like look at your world that you built and now think of it as a 3-season arc, because eventually you're just going to press play and you're going to get 6 episodes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or not 6 episodes, like 6 hours. That's what I meant.
Well, great. It looks like you're a natural.
Well, I don't know. I'm glad that you respond to some of it. That's all, you know?
I did. And well, thank you for your time. My time is up, but I do want to say I love Secession.
Thank you.
By the way. And I feel
who are some people that you love on the show?
Actually, I don't know. I'm a little torn, but I like
who do you want?
I like the character. I feel like the show is like a modern day Yellowstone, trying to save and protect their empire. You know what I mean? That's what I like. I'm a fan of Yellowstone, so I kind of relate it. I'm like, oh, it's like got the modern story, like, you know, the family doing everything and anything to maintain.
To maintain the power structure. Yeah. I mean, I love those kind of shows. I love how epic it is. It really is such an epic. It feels like do or die, life and death. It feels like Game of Thrones in that way. So I gotta watch Yellowstone.
Exactly.
Everyone says that show is great.
Oh, you gotta watch it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for your time.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Love.
And also, you know, you got the season 3 also that we'll be able to talk about.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Would love for you to see what you say.
Would love. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.